'cause it's easier than listening. You hit me with that get off my line, like I ain't even worth your time. Every time I try to speak my truth, you get loud, start changing the mood. You say I'm too deep, but you stay surface. Playing calm, you know you nervous. I ain't caught a fight, I caught a heal, but you don't know what real love feels. You say I always make it a scene, but I'm just saying what I mean. You say I'm sensitive, yeah, maybe so, but at least I still got a heart that shows. Now you're telling me get off my line, SFD, like that's how man's supposed to leave. You don't talk it out, you just leave and say, see, you always gotta disagree. Now baby, that's just fear in disguise. You run from truth and call it pride. If I'm too real, then that's fine. Go ahead, get off your line. You love the silence 'cause it keeps you safe. No accountability and just pay. You don't wanna grow, just wanna win. Say I'm done, it's been again. I'm not the villain you pay me to be. I just wanted us to speak honestly, but every time I hold the mirror clear, you shut it down like you can't hear. Same cycle, thick and night. You go to talk but keep the fight. You say I'm the reason for the storm, but you've been raining all along. Telling me get off my line, let it be like lying maturity. You don't wanna face what's real in me, you just wanna hang up emotionally. So go ahead, hide behind that tone, play tough, act like you grown. But when the quiet hits your mind, you wish I was still on your line.
Your job right now is to not search for a community. It's to become honest enough with yourself that your people can recognize you when you cross paths. This season is teaching you discernment through lived experience, which is not going to feel good all the time. It's showing you how you can tolerate what spirit refuses to tolerate and what you're no longer willing to negotiate just to feel included. When the loneliness starts spiking, don't rush to fill it, man, through lived experience. Sit with what it's pointing at and then ask yourself, what do I keep overlooking to stay connected? What do I abandon in how people get access to me? My own discernment. What am I finally unwilling to hold for other people? Your tribe is forming in the direction of your truth. They're living lives that require the version of you that exists after this season, not before. The sound of unspoken changes or shifts. When the presence starts to fade and the energy speaks louder than words. Welcome to Blended Healing.
just love we know. COC moving in a sacred flow. Every breath, every touch, every sound lifts us higher when the love comes around. Flow, flow, flow. We let it guide us slow. COC together, that's how we grow. No fear, no pressure, just truth we show. Love is the rhythm in the flow. Soft words spoken, healing.
There's a particular moment in one's personal evolution that is too difficult to put a name on it, but impossible to forget. It doesn't have to be defined by drama or any other type of conflict. It doesn't come with slammed doors, people walking off in a huff or screaming and yelling. It usually comes very quietly on the pretense of small hesitations, unanswered messages, offbeat conversations, and a subtle change you used to get from somebody you were very familiar with. At first, right, you may not notice it. The connection still technically exists, and the person still smiles at you and still returns your "how are you?" and still shares space with you in different rooms, whether it's digitally or physically. Nothing is out in the open, but something is definitely different. And so begins the silent unraveling. This is the realm of unspoken changes. When people stop showing up for you in spirit, even if they haven't walked away in body. And when the quality of the connection no longer matches the history that built it. When being in each other's presence becomes a performance instead of reality. When someone that you trusted starts to feel further and further away. Not because of time or distance, but because of choice. This is a confusing space, the realm of unspoken changes. One where your body understands first and your mind starts to resist, because the human mind always wants clarity. It wants clean lines and full sentences. It wants, and I'm leaving, I'm out. This don't feel right anymore. It wants something to react to, something to solve. But unspoken changes don't work like that. They deny you the drama. They leave you without a scene. They exit through energy, not through words. And that's what makes it so devastating, because you're left trying to grieve something that was never officially lost. It only faded. You're left holding memories in one hand and confusion in the other, unsure where the disconnect began or whether you were even allowed to acknowledge it out loud. And then you start to wonder, right, if it's you, if you're being too sensitive, if maybe you're imagining the silence that now sits between y'all, the person who once stood closer than breath. But the soul knows. It always does. There's a tone people carry when they're still walking with you. And there's a tone they carry when they're walking away. Even if their feet haven't even moved yet. And the longer you ignore that change, the more it chips away at your sense of reality. These kinds of changes are among the most difficult to fathom or even try to name, because they ask you to accept something without an explanation. They invite you to become fluent in the language of energy, to read between the lines that were never written or spoken, and then to navigate exits that come without goodbyes. But more than that, they invite you into a deeper form of discernment. Because behind soft disappearances, right, there are often deeper truths. Not every connection was meant to last. Not everyone has the emotional vocabulary to tell you when they outgrown the space. Some people walk away real quiet, stealth-like, not because of anything that you may have did. Even though you may believe you did, but because being near your light revealed parts of themselves that they weren't ready to face. And this is where the real journey begins. Not in noticing who has gone quiet, but in deciding how to honor yourself in the face of that quiet. Because when presence fades and no one says why, you're left with a choice. Will you keep trying to revive a bond that no longer breathes? Or will you lean into your wisdom, your intuition, and let what's leaving leave gracefully? With no bitterness, just truth. No harm, no foul, no judgment zone here. It's about awareness, baby. It's about awareness. And in the spaces where loyalty once lived, uncertainty now lingers, playing with your mind. And that awareness can become your anchor or your albatross hanging around your neck. Welcome to the sound of unspoken changes. Ashe.
Skin like velvet, oils got me blessed. Every drop a ritual, every move finesse. Candles lit steady, aura set high. When I walk in the room, watch the envy go. Essentials only keep it real, no stress. Glow from the roots, yeah we shine, nothing less. Drip so divine, body magic in the air. Chimeka got the vibe, self-love everywhere.
Tap into the website and see the new body bath soaks and stuff. Yeah, I'm always changing that website, yeah. Adding things, moving things around, doing inventory. You never know. You know, they say if you build it, they'll come. And I'm blessed to know that a lot of people have came. Gratitude to the Most High. Let's continue with this. Where words are gone, patterns speak. We're taught that clarity is supposed to be in conversations, right? That if something is ending, or even if it's changing just a little bit, it should come with a sit down and a mutual conversation where spoken truth can be heard with both hearts, that are given the dignity of expression to get it all out on the table, so to speak. That the right way to move through this disconnection is through dialogue. That's adulting 101, right? But the deeper that you go into the dynamics between people, the more you learn. Not all endings will announce themselves with words. In fact, many of the most meaningful separations or departures, the ones that shape you, scar you, or sober you up, are not going to arrive bold. It's not going to do that. It's going to come dressed in some type of subtle withdrawal. You know what I mean? Like when a fog approaches, right? Where all it does is dull the light until you realize you're sitting right on top of something because you couldn't see it because of the shadow of the fog until you get right up on it. And that's what it feels like. It might be a slower response times to your messages, a change in how their eyes meet yours, or won't. You know, the invisible wall where the warmth of friendship, partnership used to be, the emptiness in what they say, like, I'm just so busy. Okay, that's cool, respect it. Because this is not a confrontation, this is just recognition. Recognition of absences that don't slam the door. It's just closed, really, quiet, real gentle like, but from the other side. And when you're left thinking about it, wondering if you're overthinking, or if you simply caught on to a truth that they don't have the courage to say out loud, it's possible. It's possible, but it works both ways. And that type of disconnection is real slow. It's like a thread being pulled loose over time. You know, when you get a little snag in your sweater and you pull it, and then all of a sudden everything starts to unravel, but you're trying to save it because hey, you really, really like that damn sweater. It's like that. It unravels in moments that once felt safe. Like everything is cool. Everything is copacetic. But when it starts eroding, what once felt safe no longer feels like that. And it teaches you to watch, not just what people say, but how they show up when it matters. Because even in silence, right, people speak. Patterns are louder than promises. You feel me? And when the presence of that person starts fading, when the effort is not put into it, and when the consistency starts to fall away, that's not indecision. That's a decision being made wordlessly. It's easy to look for closure in a final conversation, but sometimes closure comes in realizing the conversation will never happen. And that's when you learn to stop seeking clarity from people's mouths that won't open and start listening to the stories that the energy has already been telling you, like forever, like dead ass, like for real, for real. But that doesn't exonerate you either. Don't get it twisted because you play a part as well. But how would you know would that be? You know what I mean? How would you know? You see, when people leave real quiet, like, right, it still leaves traces. Because not every goodbye is going to be a grand gesture. You know, it's not. Some people don't even call themselves goodbyes. Some just come as pauses. Pause. A personal reset. As soft shift starts to happen, wrapped in self-care language. You might hear I'm focusing on myself right now. Or I just need a little space. Or it's nothing personal, man. And maybe they mean that. But then again, maybe they don't. Maybe it's simply a convenient thing to say, to be vague enough to avoid confrontation, but effective enough to create distance. Because if we keep it at that, all right, people rarely vanish without a reason. Even the most spiritual sounding exits often hold unspoken truths beneath them. Some people don't leave because they're lost. They leave because they're realigned with something or someone who no longer honors your presence. And they don't want to bring that into the light. So they slide in silence for preservation. And their absence becomes an agreement. You know, that quiet head nod to the version of the story that they chose to stand behind. And you too, like I said, you ain't exonerated either. And while the words say something different, like this is about me, your energy, their energy might say this is also about who I align with behind closed doors. You feel me? So, see, some kinds of departures, right, may not be confrontational, but they may also be definitely intentional. They may not want to hurt you, but they do protect something that no longer includes you. And what's most disorienting is how those departures pretend to leave nothing behind, but they do. They absolutely do. They leave echoes, gaps in conversations, imprints on things that you used to share. And those traces still linger. Sometimes it shows up in your routines, in your questions, in the moment that you instinctively go to call them. And remember, like, wait a minute. They're not really there anymore. Because those kind of goodbyes will change you. Even though the exit may be soft, it's still an exit. You feel me? All right. I'll be right back.
She just glows, draws you in like midnight gold. A sip of her truth and you'll unfold. God is deep, got soul control. Hey, this is grown folks medicine. Don't play unless you're ready to swim. Deep, real deep. A daily dose of tea. She speaks love fluently. Red wine wisdom with a side of clarity. Come through for your blessing. Daily dose of tea. This ain't lust, it's legacy. Touch your heart, shift your frequency. In the love palace where soul ships realign. Let love dock right here. She don't chase, she attracts. She don't beg, she reflects back. So if you're here, you align now.
Make sure that you check out A Daily Dose of D Monday through Friday at 5:30 p.m. I think she's slightly changing her schedule because on Mondays, it's Mental Health Mondays with Big Brother Mouthpiece, blessings on blessings on blessings. And they have a conflict of time, so I believe that she pushes it back maybe an hour. But If you hit the notification bell, you'll be able to find out when they both go up live. Ashe? All right. Let's continue this conversation. In every community, a collective or a creative space, there comes a point where the structure of it begins to shift just a little bit. It's like a reconfiguration. What once felt very solid, steady, and unified starts to loosen at the seams a little bit. Once tight, with mutual likeness, begins to spiral very slowly, silently, sometimes without a clear cause. Not everybody who begins the journey with you is meant to walk the whole path. Trust. That's a fact. Some were there when the door opened, right? Some arrived just to stand beside you with presence and grace, offering laughter, support, or that kind of comfort that feels like home. And that shit is real, man. It's real. But not all things are real, are meant to be forever. Some people come in your life for a chapter, not the entire book. Their offering was so sacred, but it was seasonal. And when the season shifts, they shift with it. They may not announce it. You may not say that you're leaving. And they may not even realize that they're drifting, but you feel it. They feel the softening of the bond, the way their presence begins to blur at the edges, the way the conversations flatten, and the way check-ins turn into long silences punctuated by polite distance. And maybe, just maybe, you didn't know how to say it. You didn't have the language. You didn't want to hurt them. And you didn't know how to explain that while your journey is still sacred, it no longer mirrors theirs. So instead of saying it, they left you to feel it. You hoped that your absence would be easier than your honesty. They hoped you would take the hint instead of requiring the truth. And so the circle doesn't break all at once. It spirals quietly, cleanly, but unmistakably. It's easy to turn within yourself in these moments to start questioning yourself. Did I do something wrong? Did I miss a sign? Should I have said more or maybe less? Because we're wired to find a fault in everything and claim it as our own. Because clarity gives us something to hold on to, and uncertainty feels like you failed. Experience, though, teaches you self-blame is just a reflex. It's not a revelation. It happens when your heart wants to make sense of what your soul already understands. And sometimes the change is not about what you did or didn't do. It's about how you represent to someone who no longer feels aligned with you. And that's real shit. Sometimes people do drift apart. For real. It's a part of life. And it's not because of who you are. It's because of your presence might mirror things back to them. Maybe your growth reminds them of where they feel stagnant. Maybe their clarity may clash with your confusion. And just maybe your boundaries might challenge their own patterns. So what if the change was not punishment, but protection? Think about it. Think about it for real. You're thinking about it in a negative sense, and I get it because of the hurt. But when you step back and you take yourself out of the situation and then look at it again from a perspective that the divine is protecting you and may have taken you out of certain situations for that reason, it's a redirection by spirit. What if the space that someone created had nothing to do with your worth and everything to do with what they were or were not and ready to hold within themselves? Discernment will remind you not every distance is betrayal. Not every exit is a loss. And not every pause deserves to be filled with anything else, because you need to sit in it for a minute. Like for real. You need to feel that. Because when the air gets thinner, at higher elevations, here's the other thing. I'm talking real growth. The real growth that changes your breathing, changes how you move. It changes the space you walk in, and it shifts the way you stand tall in your becoming. Well, maybe it's pain associated growth. How about that? Which feels awful. Excuse me. Excuse me. But growth is, nevertheless, growth. And as you rise and as you elevate, the atmosphere is going to change too. It's going to get quiet. It's going to get clearer. It's going to be colder sometimes too, you know. And with that elevation, certain things will fall away. Not because you asked them to, but because they simply cannot survive where you're going. Sometimes connections were built in lower altitudes, sustained by the gravity of the older version of you, a version who tolerated more, who made space for energies that now feel like an assault on your chest and your heart space. But as your vision comes into view, as it comes into focus, and as your promise starts taking root, and your standards start to evolve, the very land or environment that you're in, it's going to change. It has to. Not everybody will be willing to meet you in that new place. Not everybody can breathe at your elevation. And that's not a judgment. Like I said before, don't harm, no foul, no judgment zone here. It's just natural law. Not everything is designed to endure transformation. Some bonds will expire when your spirit starts to upgrade. Some ties will loosen so your wings can stretch. Aye? Aye. Because the air might be thinner at higher altitudes, but it's also purer. Ashe? Ashe. There comes a time when you gotta bow out gracefully in order to keep yourself intact. Because otherwise, you're going to fall apart like for real. You'll be spazzing out every damn way. But sometimes you got to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I have to give myself grace in this moment. Because there is a particular type of grief that rarely gets any validation. The grief of something that ended without ever officially ending. It's just a slow fade, like I told you before, a very slow fade. And it's still something to grieve. Because being human, it's normal to want an official goodbye. Normally, it's like your heart is attempting to process change without going through all that extra shit. And when the connection dissolves gently rather than violently, that would be the preference. For real, for real. There's no villain. None of that. It's just the awareness that something that once was alive is no longer breathing. And clinging to a soft goodbye is a form of self-betrayal. It asks you to abandon your intuition in favor of an imagined conversation that's never going to come. And that's what this is all about. It's not coming. You have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with that. Because at some point, something changes internally. You got to stop needing the full story. You got to stop demanding clarity from places that have gone quiet on you, places that iced you out. You got to be okay with that. I know it hurts in the beginning. God knows I know. A long life of this bullshit. For real, for real. A very long life with this bullshit. But you got to give yourself grace. You got too much to lose, too much on the line to fall victim to some bullshit for real. You got to begin to feel the truth for what it is. You have to acknowledge the change without it being drama ridden. You don't need drama, man. You may want to. God knows you may want to be the mother of dragons. But at the end of the day, where's it going to get you? Other than your blood pressure going up and going back and forth with people who clearly don't give a fuck about you. So what's the point? For real, what's the point? Why? When you understand that energy is the truest language, words lose the power to confuse you. You no longer need verbal confirmation when alignment has already left the room. Graceful release is power without a TV show or drama playing out. It is strength without defense. It's the authority of someone who knows when to let go. And after the release comes the reckoning, a clarifying one. The emotional dust starts settling and you're left with what remains. And what remains tells you the truth. And this is where your questions start to change. They're no longer desperate or loud. They become quiet, precise, and deeply revealed. Who reaches out without being prompted out of genuine care? Who respects your absence as much as your presence? Who doesn't punish you for needing space or silence? Who chooses depth over gossip, honesty over comfort, and truth over convenience? These are the questions that don't demand immediate answers. They unfold on their own. It's like a light bulb going off. They're not going to announce themselves. No one's coming in and saying, hello, here's the answer. That's not how it works. You have to allow spirit to give you the answer, not people. Because people will always put their own spin on it. Learn to respond, not to react. And when you realize all of this, it changes how you move. You stop trying to rebuild what fell apart. You stop resurrecting connections out of shared history or guilt. You invest instead in what is alive, reciprocated, and rooted. And once you experience the peace of aligned connection, you no longer fear the loss of what cannot meet you there. I'm not keeping you long today. I'm going to wrap it up. We live in a culture, right, that treats silence as something to fix, something awkward, something incomplete, where we are taught to fill gaps with explanations, to assign meaning to every pause. But silence, when it's honored, it's not emptiness, it's information. You don't need to fill every gap in your life with noise. Sometimes silence exists so you can breathe, get space, and actually take a breath. You feel me? You don't need to label every exit as betrayal. And not every departure comes from anger or malice. It is spirit removing what no longer fits. So what does arrive can arrive unobstructed. Let it go, man. Not with anger, not with resentment, but with acceptance. Let the air clear. Let your body stop bracing for explanations that may never come. And as the path opens, lighter, cleaner, wiser, you begin to understand something deeply reassuring. What is meant for you will not require you to beg for clarity. It will not ask you to make yourself small to your truth so it can be tolerated. It will not demand that you re-explain your worth. What is ahead will meet you with reciprocity, rest. And that is not loss. That's arrival. Ashe. All right. That's it. I'm done. I was going to give you some mantras to protect your vision and guard your vessel, but I'm out of here, man. I got things to do. I just wanted to encourage you today. It's going to be all right. I promise you it's going to be all right. Sometimes you got to go through the valley several times in order to get up on the other side, because there's so many lessons to be learned. So many. And like my cousin used to tell me, people will learn you, baby. People will learn you. But with that being said, be well, stay safe. Ashe and deep bow to each and every one of you. And I'll see you around. All right.
Yeah, they lit the sky like the world's on fire. Same old cry, same tired choir. I ran through the night with a cape on tight. Thought they wanted change, nah, just another fight. Cliff up ahead, seen it all before. Same sad story, same revolving door. Run to the rescue, patch up the pain. Next day comes, they do it again. Stop mid-stride, heart went cold. This hero life done got too old. Flip that switch, let the signal die. Laid down the cape, didn't say goodbye. Gave them the tools, gave game, gave rope. They ain't want work, just drama and hope. I saved a storm, it was killing my peace. So I turned my back, let the chaos cease.
You kill the light, save my life, that's the plan. No more fire drills on the man. If you want out, better learn to fight. 'cause I'm done being hero every night. Yeah.
Save my life, let the sky go black. No more running through the flames, I ain't coming right back. You want change? Better stand and fight, 'cause tonight I'm done, yeah, I'm killing that light. Save my life, let the sky go black. No more running through the flames, I ain't coming right back. You want change? Better stand and fight, 'cause tonight I'm done, yeah, I'm killing that light. No cape on my back, yeah, I walk through the rain. Cut ties with the drama, broke chains from the pain. They gon' call it cold, they gon' call it a sin, but I done saved the same world time and again. Now I'm choosing my peace, yeah, I'm guarding my space. No more sprinting through fires just to fall out of place. If the bridge keeps burning, let the ashes stay. I ain't dying on a hill, they keep building this way. Now the nights stay quiet, no lights in the sky. Ain't no call for a hero, no reason to fly. They can stand on their own, yeah, the tools been there, but they rather call me back just to prove I care. I done gave all the game, every map, every key. If they stay in the storm, that ain't on me. I'ma ride for my peace, keep my soul intact. Once the cape hit the ground, I ain't taking it back, never.